about this new NBA All-Star Game format. I'm not gonna lie, this format is weird as hell. I'm not really sure whose idea this was. I understand the NBA is trying to do everything they can, try every single idea to try to get the NBA All-Star Game and the NBA in general back to a place where it used to be. But I don't know how I feel about this NBA All-Star Game format. Now, according to Shams Charania, the new NBA All-Star Game will have a tournament-style format. It'll feature 3 All-Star teams, and it'll have 8 players each on the roster, and there will be a 4th team. And the 4th team will be the winner of the Rising Stars Challenge. The first 2 games will be a semifinals, and they'll have to reach a target score of 40 points to be able to win that game. And then the 2 winners will advance to the finals, and they'll have a target score of 25 points. So this is a new implementation that Adam Silver wanted to put in, especially after the last All-Star Game last year was a big disappointment to everybody. And they actually consulted Stephen Curry from the Golden State Warriors and had direct conversations with him about changing the format. And I guess this is part of Stephen Curry's brainchild to be able to put their best foot forward and try to see what they can do with the All-Star Game moving forward. And again, my opinion, I don't think this is going to save the NBA. I don't think the issue is the format of the game. I think the issue is a lack of effort coming from the players, just the NBA culture in general. You putting all these bells and whistles in, throwing paint at a canvas, trying to see what sticks is not really going to work because the underlying issue of the NBA player culture is not being addressed. So there's nothing really you can do. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm still open to seeing whether this will work or not. I'll be tuning into the All-Star Game just to be able to see how this is going to work out and what it's going to look like. Again, I don't fault the NBA and Adam Silver for trying new things, but it seems like they've been trying a new thing almost every single year and nothing's been sticking. So I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of this new NBA All-Star Game format? Do you think it's going to work? Do you think the fact that they consulted Stephen Curry is going to add to the excitement? Do you think this is something to be excited about in general? We've had a couple of people sound off on this new change as well too. We've had Stephen A. Smith talk about the new All-Star Game format. This is what he said about it.
I hate it. I have no use for it. It means absolutely positively nothing to me. Matter of fact, I don't even want to go. I'm going to call it what it is. It's straight bullshit. It really is. Let me tell y'all something, okay? Nobody should expect the players on All-Star Sunday to play as hard as they play during the regular season or the playoffs. I understand that. But you trying to tell me you can't play as hard as you play in the summertime when you're working out to get yourself in shape? You can't do that? We've seen plenty of footages of NBA players working out in the off season, practicing in gyms, going up against one another. They play harder than what we see on Sundays for All-Star Weekend. How come you can't do that for the All-Star Game?
And I'm a little bit inclined to agree with Stephen A. Smith, man. Listen, it goes back to what I was saying before. Unless you change the players' attitude towards the All-Star Game, unless you get them to put in effort like they used to put in the early 2000s, all these players really wanted to go at each other. It was a real thing to want to win MVP at that game. If you look at how Kobe went off against each other, Jordan went off, like players like Allen Iverson, all these guys wanted to go in there and prove that they were the best player on the court. It wasn't about all these 3 balls or all this other stuff. Obviously, the All-Star Game has always had a sort of over-the-top flair with it as well, but dudes really wanted to go in there and drop 40 to prove that they were the best player on that court. But I don't know what's happened since then, man. It just seems like the NBA spirit, I don't know whether it's been money, whether it's been sponsorships, the fact that the players are too entitled, the fact that the players are getting too much money too early, they don't have to work hard enough for it, but it's just not the same that it used to be. And everybody can feel this. Everybody feels a change in the NBA product. It's just not where it was supposed to be at this point. And with all these players getting all this money, hundreds of millions of dollars, you would expect that you get hundreds of millions of dollars worth of effort, but it's just not the case. But you guys sign off below. I want to hear your thoughts on the new NBA All-Star Game format and whether you like it or whether you hate it. Sign off below. And speaking